seriously, no, so don't go harass any of the people. Okay, bye. On June 4th, 2016, a video would go viral. That being the video, Ubisoft downgrades. Now by today's standards, the video feels very silly. Half the clips he showed, if I'm gonna be honest here, either look the same as the trailers but more realized, or they just don't look like downgrades, like at all. I mean, I argue the Far Cry 3 section, which is brief, it's ridiculous. The fact that this man looks at the second footage he shows as a downgrade. However, the first one he showed earlier looks frankly shit in comparison to the final product. Like seriously, look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy isn't Voss. He looks like he'd be selling Newports. So why would a video like this go viral? Well, at the time, okay, this is going to be brief. Basically, at the time, gamers really wanted their games to be next gen. Whatever that means. Basically, just nothing like a PS3 or Xbox 360 game. So if a game got a minor graphics downgrade compared to the demos, it was basically a huge deal. If you want to know a little bit more about this, I'll link a Second Wind video that kind of talks about the same topic as this section, so just go watch that video. It makes my job way more easier. Now, to get back to that channel whose video went viral, that channel's name is Crowbcat.
We got a #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we bout to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town.
Crowbcat is a name you definitely have heard of. He has over 1 million subscribers, and you, yes, you watching this video, you have at least watched one of his videos before. So why am I talking about him again? Well, in Nik-Tek Again, but we'll get to that. Because this isn't the first time I've talked about them. Well, a certain funny Italian game and its stupid ass discourse caused me to air out my grievances with these two creators once again. So where do I start? Well, let's expand upon what I said in that previous video. It's the Resident Evil 4 remake video. People did not like this video, but instead of taking their advice and maybe looking at this backlash, any normal creator would take time to recharge or apologize or do a video that's different from the one that got you the backlash to begin with as a sort of apology. But no, he kept doing that, hating remakes and remasters of games to what's basically gonna be the end of time, or until he dies, but you know what I mean. Such a shame for sure. So basically what I mean by that is, for some reason Crowbcat just hates video game remakes with a fiery burning passion. There's something about just him reacting, well, maybe not reacting, but just like making these videos, there's like a vibe going off of them. Like he genuinely has disdain for the people who just make these remakes. Like does he know that a lot of the people who make these remakes are made out of love and care? Like yeah, there are bad video game remakes, but they're not really that common. Most of them, especially nowadays, are actually pretty decent to even great in some areas. So I don't really get it. And I know someone's gonna say, but Mr. Carl Merlin, he's actually saying that old bad, new good. And look, we're gonna get into that in a bit. Look, Too Long Didn't Read. Crowbcat doesn't like remakes. I don't know why. I never will know why, but he doesn't like video game remakes, and he thinks they're all soulless, despite the fact that they're made with love and care. Alright? I wasn't really explaining myself, and honestly, I don't even think I actually had a script for that video, if I'm gonna be honest here. But this is basically just, all of that. We good? We good. Okay, let's continue. Now, yes, Crowbcat's disdain towards video game remakes is really weird, but it's actually a lot more deeper than that, at least I feel. So let's take an example from one of his earlier videos. GTA 4 is better than GTA 5. Now on the surface the video is fine, just comparing the differences video that he usually makes. However, the video feels nitpicky. It just kind of feels like he's just doing random shit to try to make GTA 4 feel better. But honestly, it just feels nitpicking to me.
Foreshadowing in its most ominous form.
I mean, if you are watching this video, you probably grew up playing GTA 4. Did you ever, in a million years, ever wonder, hey, I wonder if you could choose the tires and see them deflate? No, nobody fucking thinks this way. This is just fucking nitpicking bullshit. And you can feel that nitpicking aura all over his videos. They feel less like demonstrations on how some old games might have better mechanics than some modern games, and just feel like all thing good, no thing bad. You see a lot online. And the breaking point for me was the video on Resident Evil 4, the remake, not the original, if you can't tell. So this video and its discourse are old news, I know, but still I want to talk about this video mainly because out of all the videos Crowbcat up until this point has posted were pretty well received. What I mean by that is every video that Crowbcat has posted has been well received one way or another. However, that'll change with this video. Yeah, you don't need me to tell you that people did not like this video. You could still find reactions and responses to this video all over YouTube. People made fun of the way Crowbcat uses volume to make the remake feel quieter than it actually was. Look, I'm not going to get into the discourse because, again, old news, but I do want to bring up something that actually was a part of my original point in the video. In fact, it's actually what opened the original video, a saltier than crate post. That being this one that I'm showing on screen. This post literally caused me to make this video. I want to discuss why I put that Reddit post there to begin with, and I think I know why on some level. You see, this post I think kind of spoke to me. I'm not saying it like, oh, it changed my life and new age shit bullshit. No, I'm just saying it kind of spoke to me. As someone who was never really the biggest fan of Mr. Crowbcat, but I've always on some level at least had a modest respect for the guy. He had a unique style that was very unique at the time. He definitely put a lot of effort into his videos, even if they were, well, this. But he still put a lot of effort into his videos, and I can recognize that. But it wasn't until this post when I started to realize that this guy was always like this, at least on some level. Sure, I'm not saying he's some loser who wants to ruin everybody's fun, no. But what I'm saying is that Crowbcat's new behavior, if you can even call it that, of hating new things and glazing old stuff, was a part of his channel from day one. The truth is, the game was rigged from the start. But if there's anything to take away from this part of the video is that at least his content has effort put into it. I'm not the biggest fan of Crowbcat, but I can understand why someone else might like his content, even if I don't. I know I just repeated myself, but, you know, someone's probably on their phone or, you know, probably drawing somewhere. Hey, idiot! Fucking pay attention to the video! Yeah, I fucking see you right over there. Stop drawing! And hey, there's always a bigger fish to fry. Ooh, yeah, hey. So Nik-Tek, I don't like this guy. In fact, I'll go a step beyond. I am the biggest hater of Nick over here. I don't like this creator for many reasons. Like how he's just doing a Crowbcat video, but without any of the sauce that makes a Crowbcat video good. And to top that is the smugness in his videos. From his tweets to his titles, his smug aura mocks me. It's evil. Nick comes across to me as a gigantic douchebag. Now, is he a douchebag? No, but the reason why I hate Nick but praise Crowbcat, no, it's not because I'm a meat rider towards Crowbcat all of a sudden. Even though I'm not a fan, Crowbcat always came across as someone with passion, with sauce. So what makes a Crowbcat video good, despite what I just said earlier? Well, there's many answers to this question. But I feel the most common one is the editing. He has a style to him, and when you look at his videos, you can tell it's him, and you can see why Nik-Tek is so ass in comparison. Nick's edits have no sauce whatsoever. They have no passion, they have no aggression, they have no fucking mindset, and I think you get it. Not a big fan of Nick, but the reason why I'm talking about him again is because of... Nik-Tek made a tweet on Mafia the Old Country, and all he did was just stand in water and just run around. We'll get back to that. Now, I would go in detail about the drama around this game, but... Hey, Editing Kyle here. How can I say this? I've been trying to find the video that I just described. See, look, let me go over here. You see, I don't have the video on the screen yet. Maybe I'll have it in post, but hey, guess what happened? Found the video! Someone already beat me to the punch, so I'll link that video down in the description. But to keep this section of the video short, all I'll say is this isn't new for Nick. He's so desperately trying to be like Crowbcat so badly that he's also picked up a lot of his nitpicking bullshit. Like for example, like I mentioned before, standing in water in a video game for minutes instead of, you know, playing the fucking game. If you showed this to your parents, they would go, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" Followed by, What is he doing? Out of context, he looks like a dumbass, but in context, he still looks like a dumbass. This is just so out of touch to me. You spend $60 or $50 on a game and you stand in water? Also, he got community noted.
Why the fuck am I alive?
So, we're at the end of the video. I was going to talk about some other stuff, but I think I'll end it here, and who the hell is that? Oh no.
And everybody telling you how useless you are while still demanding that you buy their stuff. I don't think that they realize how much this damages their brand, puts their coworkers at risk, and alienates their audiences. I play indie games at a near 10-to-1 ratio now, and I never feel exhausted.
Yeah, that's right. This video was secretly about legendary drops, bitch! Legendary drops, to pardon my French, fucking sucks. I'm coming out the gate swinging with that one, because straight up, I don't like him. Now, is he a bad person? No, but there's a vibe from him that I just don't vibe with whatsoever. Legendary drops just seem like a douchebag. You know, kind of like a Robin Thicke sort of level douchebag. There was just something about him that just radiated douche energy. Like you could shake his hand.
My hand and feel flesh gripping yours, and maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable. I simply...
7 years old.
Okay, American Psycho reference aside, I've never really liked him. So throughout this video, I will be referring to him as Mr. Dumps. But Mr. Dumps is the George Washington of gaming slop, in the sense that he, alongside other people like the gaming isn't fun anymore people in the this niche indie game that nobody cares about, humiliated triple gay games industry that you see on GX corners like their boredom buster sections. Even Arkshon Games is doing this. What happened to you guys? What happened? But anyways, even though I hate those videos, I hate these videos even more. Because all he does in his videos is read articles. Then why not just read the articles yourself? Yes, you at home home. I know people might say, look at Merlin Productions, I need to watch these videos because I don't want to read. First off, that's no excuse. You're taught to read in school unless you're blind or have some sort of condition where you can't read or something like that. Most, if not all of my audience can read. All I'm saying, skill issue. Also, most of his videos are just him yapping, like non-stop. He doesn't really get to the point right away. And to demonstrate this, I'll show you his video, not in its entirety, but just enough. And I want you, while watching this video, to pay attention to how many times I have to fast forward just to move the video along. It's a fun game you can play at home with your family. So let's see how long he gets to the point. Or a point, I guess. Take it away, Mr. Dumps.
I play indie games at a near 10-to-1 ratio now, and I never feel exhausted. If I play a AAA game from start to finish, I feel like I need to take a vacation afterwards. It feels like the biggest games in the industry continue to get bigger and offer us more while we continue to get less out of them. I'll play a game that I like, and then years later there'll be a sequel, and the reason that I love the game is now buried under a bunch of useless garbage that's just there to make the game look better rather than actually be any better. And this is something that we've seen play out across the entire industry, especially when it comes to major franchises. Adding in a bunch of useless stuff that just does not need to be there, whether that's open worlds or RPG mechanics, non-narrative games now becoming just flooded with dialogue, useless game modes, battle royales, whatever it might be. And all these things are there just to inflate playtime because developers have gaslit themselves into believing that, well, the longer a game is, the more value that players get out of it. And also on top of that, it's really nice because it keeps you in the game longer and more likely to be able to buy microtransactions. But once in a while, I think that feeling of paying more for less, that general erosion of quality, that's the reason why so many people are frustrated today. That's why you got angry gamers. Video gamers are angry at indie. They're the most widely celebrated games in the industry. Small games feel a hell lot bigger than they actually are because they become the version of AAA. They're offering more for less. What a value proposition. But I think it actually goes deeper than that. I think it's more about fulfillment and enjoyment. And that's what I want to talk about today. I also want to talk about why I think indie is succeeding and why I think the reason for that is because they go deep instead of wide. Before that, this video was sponsored by Boot.dev, the best way, honestly, the fastest way that I found to be able to learn back and develop without being bored or getting halfway through. I'm just saying myself, we're listed more. There is a laundry list of reasons as to why we've seen so much animosity towards a lot of games over the years, and I noticed that while I often talk about these issues, I never just grab a single part of the problem and just run it the length of the field. And in one of my recent videos, I offhandedly mentioned the idea that too many games are trying to go wide instead of deep, and how I don't need games to do everything, I just need them to do a handful of things really fucking well. That idea clicked for me because I saw people complaining about Mafia Old Country and how the game didn't have swimming. Swimming, a mechanic that would add nothing to the game's experience. And when I saw that, I started thinking about what a single mechanic like that will do to the design process of a game, because it's never just swimming. The moment that you add it, you have to justify it. Now, there's a mission where you fall into the water, now self-sections are built around maps, navigation or reshape for it. Even the game story is going to bend or break just to be able to acknowledge it. And what looks like a simple mission for players, in reality, it starts slowly pulling the entire design away from where it was meant to be. And that's where woke comes in, where they use all the time because it doesn't just describe one thing, it describes everything. These companies, their budget, their production pipelines, and most of all, the games themselves, AAA, stretch so far, so broad that it's lost touch with its original concepts. Instead of doubling down on what made these games powerful in the first place, they've expanded sideways until the core experience has been drowned out. The clearest example, and honestly the lowest hanging piece of fruit here, is Assassin's Creed. The first game was limited in scope. One city, one clear design, tactical stealth, brutal combat, and a gripping story. That's it, didn't need anything else. It worked so well for Ubisoft, a household name, but as the series went on, that formula started to slip away rather than refining the mechanics of the game. The game's balloon. Yes, there were some high points in it. Black flagship mechanics were really great, but outside of that, every edition pulled away further and further from what the series was supposed to be. I mean, Assassin's Creed today isn't even the same series. It's open world RPG, mounts, gathering, crafting, base building, loot mechanics, later RPG progression. Ubisoft has gone so wide with the experience that every system now has to justify its own existence, which means they're forced into the core loop, whether you like it or not. You want to advance the story, too bad. Killing enemies and completing missions is not enough anymore. You got to climb lookout points, you got to run obstacle courses, you got to scavenge for hidden collectibles just to be able to unlock skill points, because otherwise you'll hit a progression gate that's going to block you from continuing with the narrative. And the worst part is, if the game still nails its fundamentals, maybe all that padding wouldn't be so bad, but it doesn't. The narrative is a shadow of what it once used to be. Voice acting feels completely phoned in. Stealth is relevant now. You just expect your character into a walking tank, and combat is simpler and duller than most mobile games. All these are systems of resources being siphoned away. You want to advance the story, too bad. Killing enemies and completing missions is not enough anymore. You got to climb lookout points, you got to obstacle courses, you got to scavenge for hidden collectibles just to be able to unlock skill points, because otherwise you'll hit a progression gate that's going to block you from continuing with the narrative. The worst part is, the game still nails its fundamentals, maybe all that padding wouldn't be so bad, but it doesn't. The narrative is a shadow of what it once used to be. Voice acting feels completely phoned in. Stealth is relevant now. You just expect your character into a walking tank, and combat is simpler and duller than most mobile games. All these are systems of resources being siphoned away. You want to advance the story, too bad. Killing enemies and completing missions is not enough anymore. You got to climb lookout points, you got to obstacle courses, you got to scavenge for hidden collectibles just to be able to unlock skill points, because otherwise you'll hit a progression gate that's going to block you from continuing with the narrative. The worst part is, the game still nails its fundamentals, maybe all that padding wouldn't be so bad, but it doesn't. The narrative is a shadow of what it once used to be. But these guys make it look easy. I have never been exhausted by playing an indie game, and I feel like I could play 20 of them at a time if I wanted to. And I never felt like my time was wasted. And the reason for that is they just take a couple of things and they do them perfectly.
Yeah, that's right, folks. You heard it here first. 12 minutes and 13 seconds of the video. What the fuck is wrong with you? Look, I'm basically off script in this portion of the video, but like, really think about that. Why are you wasting 12 minutes and 13 seconds of your fucking like audience's time just to get to that point, or even any point? At that point, just make a tweet. Like, I hate to say that, but I know he's on Twitter often, but literally half of his videos are just tweets. They're just tweets in video form. I'm convinced he doesn't even have a script. He's just yapping into a void. Like, if he has a script, he needs to fucking learn better script writing. Because, yeah, I have trouble script writing myself, but at least I try. This guy is like doing the lowest of low efforts. I'm sorry, let's go back to the script. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so it took so long making this video that both Charlie Kirk died and Silksong came out a week ago as of me writing this part. And the reason why I say this is I was going to cover one video from him. Not the one I just showed you or the one Crimes New Roman covered, but a different video. You'll see why in a bit. But because Charlie is dead, he made a video loosely based about it. Like, around it, meant to say. I don't want to cover the whole video, but I want to cover this point.
The thing I think developers don't seem to understand is that the strongest backlash is coming from betrayal and alienation. The thing I think developers don't seem to understand is that the strongest backlash is coming from betrayal and alienation. Strongest backlash is coming from betrayal and alienation.
Yes, harassing developers over the politics is alienation. And everything Asmongold says and does is, to him, being alienated. Fuck you. And that dumb ass bullshit. But the reason why I made this video is because of this video. So let's watch it, huh?
I'm a pickle Rick.
So this video is inspired by a PC Gamer article. So in the interest of fairness, I read the whole article. Like literally the whole thing. Well, I would, but despite using the article to make his point, he doesn't link it in the description. All the links in the video are to his social accounts. Like his social media accounts. But whatever, I found it and I did link it down in the description. Suck it, Mr. Dumps. But I read the article and it's fine. It's well written and gets to the point. The reason why, from my generation, Gen Z spends less money on new games, well, the main point being, well, as PC Gamer put it best,
rising prices in the gaming industry are likely only making matters worse. If young adults are having a hard time justifying gaming purchases already, $70 or $80 becoming the new norm for AAA games isn't going to help. The same applies to consoles and PC hardware getting more expensive. I'm looking at you, Switch 2. That doesn't mean young people aren't still gaming. As of March 2025, 28% of gamers are between 18 and 29 years old. Gen Z is still a huge part of the gaming community. They are just spending less money than older generations, possibly opting for more free-to-play games, buying less expensive indie games, or waiting for sales. The rise of less expensive, go-up-focused free slot games such as Peak, Repto, and Lethal Company might actually be a sign of the times, too. These games are usually very affordable, around $10 or less, and act as a way for players to socialize and goof around together without having to go out or spend loads of money. Most free slot games don't even require a particularly powerful PC, further lowering their barrier to entry.
Honestly, this is fair and makes sense because they actually use research. I mean, they got a guy from Blue Sky, so you know it's legit. Now let's see what Mr. Dumbs thinks about this article.
Imagine everybody telling you how useless you are while still demanding that you buy their stuff. You know, 5 years ago they said that $70 was the new normal. Now they're eyeing $80 games. Microtransactions have infested everything. Mobile gaming's gone nuclear. These guys have brought in billions of dollars off the back of our spending and then poured 2 to 3 times as much into absolute
garbage.
Oh no. So let's unpack this. So first off, what do you mean by microtransactions have infested everything? This is demonstrably false. Look at the last Game of the Year winner, Astrobot. That game doesn't have a cash shop or paid skins. Same thing with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Same thing with Borderlands 4. Same thing with Split Fiction. And finally, Baldur's Gate 3. Do you see what I mean? The amount of games that have monetization has always been small. Look at the games I mentioned, as well as other games I'll put in here. And here's the games with microtransactions that came out this year, or a couple years ago. And if you don't believe me, 2017, 2023, and again 2025. And look at these games coming out next year. Do you think that these games have monetization systems in them? And be honest with your answer. Yes, games with monetization, predatory or not, will exist. But what I'm saying is that they have infested everything is simply just plain stupid. But let's continue, shall we?
You know, 5 years ago, they said that $70 was the new normal. Now they're eyeing $80 games.
This point is outdated because $80 games lasted longer than the Confederacy did, so I don't need to explain that.
These guys have brought in billions of dollars off the back of our spending and then poured 2 to 3 times as much into absolute garbage.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
You know what? I'm skipping ahead till he talks about the article.
I feel like I've been sounding the alarms for the better part of a year now, pointing out every crack in the hull before the ship hits the rocks. Hell, Activision
Again,
is out here
what is
channeling
he
their
talking
inner
about?
Titanic by openly saying that Call of Duty is too big to fail, while apparently completely unaware of the generational iceberg every publisher is about to slam into. Now, before we get too deep into the why, let's start talking about what's actually happening. In an article from PC Gamer written by Stevie Bonifield titled "New Study Shows Gen Z is Spending Way Less on Video Games Than Older Gamers. Young people can't even afford gaming anymore." They write, young people are so strapped for cash right now that even video games are too expensive for them. A June study by Circana, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, found that spending among 18 to 24-year-olds dropped by 13% from January to April 2025 compared to last year. Video game purchases were hit particularly hard, falling nearly 25%, according to a chart Circana's Matt Piscatella shared on Blue Sky. For context, Piscatella shared another chart comparing the drop in spending among Gen Z to spending changes in older generations. The difference is dramatic. Where older generations' spending dropped less than 5%, Gen Z's is plummeting. It's particularly surprising to see such a sharp drop in spending on video games, which historically cater to young people. Now, to reference Matt Piscatella's post directly, video game spend among 16 to 24s is down sharply. Young grads are having a much tougher time finding jobs. Student loan payments are starting for millions of borrowers. Credit card delinquency rates have risen to their highest points since before the pandemic. Overall, purchasing by 18 to 24s has plummeted, especially when compared to other age groups. Now, that's already bleak, but here's where it gets critical for the games industry. Back in March, a separate study showed that Gen Z and Gen A already make up 28% of all gamers. Millennials just falling right behind them at 26%. The difference between the two of them is that only 18% of millennials reportedly spent nothing on games, while more than double that number of Gen Z gamers spent nothing at all. And when they do spend, it's less across the board. Just 35% of Gen Z average more than $10 a month on microtransactions compared to 50% of millennials. And remember, all this data came out before the latest spending drop, which means that right now, younger generations are probably spending less than half of what their older counterparts do. Now, we add this to the fact that older generations are aging out of the hobby, playing less, sticking to older games that were aimed at them, spending less money, and you have a spending collapse that is going to pull the rug right out from underneath the industry. And I do not see this getting better because nothing about the conditions for younger generations is going to improve anytime soon.
You didn't even read the end of the... Okay, the main point of the article you just sourced. Because of things like inflation and the rise of game sales on places like Steam and the rise of indie games and friend slop games, it's more likely that people who are Gen Z, that being me, would probably wait for a sale. But even then, people my age still buy AAA games on launch. It just doesn't happen as often as some people like you probably want them to. People just probably want to wait for a day one patch or wait for reviews or something like that. It's not the end of days for video games or the video game industry. It's really, really fucking not. It's really that simple. Some people just want to wait for a sale or day one patch or reviews. It's fine. Also, I love that his logic is people not buying AAA games on launch sometimes, and that means the games industry is dying, even though they're still buying games sometimes, and that means that the games industry is dying, even though they're still buying AAA games, just not as just not as often or even at launch. So that means they're still supporting the games industry. How does this channel have 400,000 subscribers again? Like, seriously, really think about this logic for a second. If the games industry really was dying or being, hurt because of people not buying AAA games at launch, at least not as much as they used to, and they would rather wait on sales or reviews or day one patches, then how is that a bad thing? People want to wait for a game to be good or be worth their time, or they would rather do research before buying a product. It's really not that big of a deal, dude. You're treating it like it's the end of days or the end of the video game industry when people are still participating in the video game industry. Again, how does this channel have 400,000 subscribers? A fucking child can debunk most of his claims. No, I don't mean like a baby. I mean like a literal 5-year-old or 10-year-old can look at his arguments and go, well, this guy's dumb as fuck. And again, really think about what he's saying. People are saying that they're not supporting the video game industry by still supporting the video game industry, but just doing a little bit more research, or maybe not buying AAA games on launch as much, or even at all, and just waiting on a sale. Was this a bad thing? Don't you want people to play games? And again, how does this channel have over 400,000 subscribers? Here's the thing here. I think people like Neurotic and your Geeks and Gamers and Coordinating, they're way worse people, but Legendary Drops is easily the dumbest out of all of them. And I'm not saying that because he's a grifter, I'm just saying that compared to all three of those guys I just mentioned, yeah, those guys are dumb, but they're kind of intentionally being dumb. They're grifters, they're trying to, sell you on something. They're trying to sell a solution instead of actually giving one. Legendary Drops, he is just stupid. There is no intelligence. There's clearly no brain in that big-ass forehead of his. Also, what does this have to do with the video? No, seriously, what does this have to do with the video? Why is this... I'm skipping ahead again. Let's see if he talks about something interesting.
Never solutions, only stopgaps to protect themselves. That's all these guys have ever used, while also at the exact same time jacking up prices on their customers and putting so much pressure on them. And things are spinning so wildly out of control that this is one of the few times that I actually don't see a clear picture for what they could do in the future to be able to protect themselves or save themselves outside of cutting their budgets insanely and also slashing the prices of their games. But we know that that's not going to happen or happen fast enough. And I'm sure a lot of these guys are probably thinking to themselves, AI is the answer, but the issue there is you're cutting the rope at both ends. People need jobs to be able to buy things. So if there's less people with jobs, there's less people buying products. And on top of that, we know that the savings that they're going to get from switching to AI is not going to be passed down to the customer. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen when they switched from physical to digital, so why would it happen now? If you're in your 20s or younger and you're watching this channel, first I'd like to say, great taste. But beyond that...
Well, we're waiting.
I try to do my best to be able to promote the trades as much as I possibly can because it helped me when I was in the lowest point of my life. I didn't think I had a future. I didn't think I had anywhere to go. And then I found my way into the construction industry, and it gave me the ability to chase a dream like this later on down the road. And I cannot recommend the trades enough. It's some of the greatest people that you can work with. It's incredibly difficult to break into. I'll give it that. There's a lot of nepotism. You got to know somebody in a lot of cases, unless you're from smaller cities and areas. Usually those places are, looking for folks. Literally every hall that I had ever worked with was desperate for young folk because in most cases they had guys that were in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, and that's all they ever had. And they just had nobody else that was younger, and they need guys to be able to carry stuff. It's good money. It's honest money. And a lot of people over the course of time have tried to vilify it as much as they possibly can. And I'm going to be honest with you. That's because they're trying to keep you financially down. That's what it is. This is going to move fast. Very fast. Millennials, while being better off than Gen Z, they're not that much better off. And they're not so much better off that they can support the entire industry as we know it today with its current costs and how much it's monetized. It's just not going to happen. And the funny thing is, the more I think about it now, when I look at a lot of the games that have failed over the last couple of months or last couple of years now, any of the games that weren't aimed at us, millennials, failed badly in a lot of cases. And the reason why is because they never had another generation to be able to catch them. So if they were aiming for somebody else, they just straight up missed because those guys didn't have the money to be able to buy the games. These guys are screwed. These games take too long to make. They're too expensive to make. And while these guys are flailing around trying to figure everything out, indie's just going to come in and steal the scene. In fact, they already have.
Oh, he's one of those guys, isn't he? You see, remember that video I showed you where it took him 14 minutes of the video to get to his point? Well, what I didn't show you was this.
I play indie games at a near 10-to-1 ratio now, and I never feel exhausted.
And what are the games that he's been playing recently? Or what are some of the games you call a wake-up call? So, Mr. Dumps is what I call an indie game tourist. Someone who mainly talks about indie games, and I mean that in quotations, mainly well-known ones like Hollow Knight, Friend Slot games, you get it, and doesn't talk about any other indie games, so sadly no Ram, no Lorne's Learn, and if you're wondering, well, what are those two games? That's the problem, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Or he just straight up doesn't show you what games he's playing, and therefore the dev doesn't get exposure, and they might say that indie games have been killing it lately, but it's all a fucking facade, because deep down they're dumbass consumers ready to buy the next AAA game. And as you can see, or hear in this case, I can't stand these people, I'm sorry. Look, let's just end this video, okay? I'm done. Look, this video took way too long to make. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I just stopped uploading new videos for a while and just started to make shitposts and YTPs, which are fun to make, but it's clear you want effort from me. At least, what semblance of effort, at least. You don't want shitpost, you want videos like these. And I finally got around to do that, I guess. I'm going to try to start working on my Walton Files video for the future, mainly because it's going to be spooky season soon, but I won't really get that done, maybe next year, I don't know. And that's it, really, it for me. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you later. Peace.